she slips tiny notes inscribed with the word Scotland into each shoe on big launch days. So I told you that I was going to give you a special, and tonight you're going to get that special. Let me start by saying that it's no secret, nobody's surprised that the people in an organization is what makes it great. You can have all the raw materials, you can have all the factories, you can have whatever you want, but if you don't have the people, and if the people are just so-so as opposed to top-notch, you're not going to get very far. Well, that's at least true for now. With AI on the way, who knows whether we'll have businesses that don't require any humans. But at least for now, the humans are what make it go round, and Elon has said it. Every venture capitalist you're ever going to talk to is going to say the number one thing I look at is who are the folks, what have they done, what have they accomplished in the past, et cetera, et cetera. What is their, sometimes they want to know their pedigree, but even more so, what have you done and what are you capable of? So anyway, I thought, well, okay, we've got SpaceX now is a public company. A lot of you have invested in it, and some of you who haven't invested in it are sitting there with dry powder like me, planning to invest in SpaceX. Well, we've got Elon Musk. We got him right at the top of the food chain. He's the one that's running it, and he's the one that we're really buying the stock because of. But he's got, in this case, he's got a number one or number two in control. He's got somebody that we can look at who's been on the team for a very, very long time and who is amazing, and who, if anything happened to Elon, I suppose she would take over, at least for a time. Her name is Gwynne Shotwell. She is an engineer, and she has now turned into a COO. With the new IPO last week, she has helped turn SpaceX into a $2 trillion public powerhouse, one platform heel and sticky note at a time. Now, I know that doesn't sound like Randy's writing, does it? Well, that's because this story is inspired by a bio sketch that was in Fortune magazine. When SpaceX rang the opening bell for its historic NASDAQ debut under ticker SPCX, securing the largest IPO in history with a record $83 billion raise at roughly $1.77 trillion valuation, the president and chief operating officer, Gwynne Shotwell, was likely channeling her signature ritual. Here's what she does. She slips tiny notes inscribed with the word Scotland into each shoe on big launch days. I'm not sure they ever tell us why. It's a personal talisman born from one of the company's most desperate nights, a quiet reminder that moonshot thinking depends upon audacity and also on persistence on the ground. The original story traces back to September 2008 in a Glasgow hotel room. Oh, that's where you go. Okay, I missed that earlier. Shotwell, then deeply involved in business development, was on the phone bidding for a pivotal $1.6 billion NASA commercial resupply service contract while the Falcon 1, SpaceX's fourth and potentially final attempt before bankruptcy loomed, prepared to launch half a world away. She kept the shower running to avoid waking her husband as tension mounted. When the rocket successfully reached orbit, she sprinted down the hallway in yoga pants and a pajama top, pounding on doors to rally her team. They commandeered the hotel bar at 2 a.m. for warm champagne. Since then, those Scotland notes have kept her anchored to the breakthrough moment of resilience. Fast forward nearly 2 decades, and she's employee number 11, and she now holds roughly 12.6 million shares. At post-IPO trading levels, her stake has propelled her net worth to north of $2 billion, making her one of the wealthiest self-made women in technology and aerospace. Quite frankly, one of the wealthiest self-made women, period. Her compensation last year alone reached about $85.8 million, which is largely stock-based, reflecting her outsized role in building a company that now dominates global launches, powers Starlink connectivity worldwide, and eyes ambitious leaps into AI infrastructure and deep, safe exploration. She came from the Chicago suburbs to rocket science using an unusual direction. She was born Gwynne Rowley on November 23rd, 1963 in Evanston, Illinois. She grew up as the middle of three daughters in nearby Libertyville, Illinois. Her father was a brain surgeon. Her mother was an artist. As a 5-year-old, she watched the Apollo 11 moon landing on TV, and she found it boring. This is a far cry from her later passion. In high school, she thrived as a cheerleader and a varsity basketball player while excelling academically, but engineering was not even close to being on her radar. Everything changed when her mother dragged her to a Society of Women Engineers event at Illinois Institute of Technology. Initially completely disinterested, Shotwell was captivated by one sharply dressed female engineer whose marvelous shoes matched her bag perfectly, all that in quotes. She just made mechanical engineering accessible to me, Shotwell recalled in a 217 Mary Claire interview. I left the event saying, okay, I'll be a mechanical engineer because I thought she was cool. At Northwestern University, she was one of just 3 women in the mechanical engineering class out of 36. She earned both a bachelor's in mechanical engineering and a master's in applied mathematics. Her early career stops included Chrysler's management training program and a decade at Aerospace Corporation in California, where she performed thermal analysis on spacecraft. She later joined Microcosm, a small, low-cost rocketry firm, as director of space systems. In 2002, a casual lunch with a former colleague who had jumped to a scrappy new startup called SpaceX changed everything. The colleague offered a tour, and Shotwell ended up chatting briefly with Elon Musk. Though she wasn't job hunting and had no resume handy, SpaceX soon called her and asked her to lead business development. Like that. How often Elon does that kind of stuff. After weeks of hesitation, though, she pulled on a Los Angeles freeway to finally commit. She became employee number 7. Some people say even number 7, depending on the counts, and walking away from a stable role that had a meaningful equity position. I called him on the phone, and she said, quote, "I'm an idiot." She later shared in a Stanford Graduate School of Business talk. Musk laughed and replied, "Welcome to the team." She had mentally prepared for failure. If SpaceX collapsed, she'd leave aerospace entirely, perhaps sell real estate or become a barista. The pragmatic operator, translating vision into execution. Now 62, Shotwell stands as a steady counterbalance to Musk's visionary intensity. She oversees day-to-day operations for a workforce exceeding 22,000, managing everything from rocket production and regulatory affairs to customer relations. Starlink expansion and recent integrations involving 𝐑𝐚𝐲 is also part of her mandate. While Musk dives deep into technical strategy and high-level direction, Shotwell focuses on making the impossible operational, like any good COO. Quote, "I need more data than Elon does to make a decision," she has said. The company's track record reflects this partnership. Ambitious targets are often met, even if timelines slip. Quote, "We fail on the timeline, but that feels like the right fail to make," Shotwell explains. Or, echoing Musk, "We make the impossible, we just make it late." In her wide-ranging CNBC interview the other day with Morgan Brennan, conducted at Starbase in Texas just before the IPO, Shotwell framed SpaceX as an infrastructure company. "We build our own launch vehicles, we build our own launch sites, and we're building data centers both on the ground as well as in orbit soon," she noted. She addressed the shift from these previous Falcon 9 Dragon days to the more expansive, capital-intensive Starship, and then on to AI, because it's next-level expensive. The company has shouldered significant debt amid these expansions, but continues to lead in launch cadence and broadband deployment by a lot. Failure, in her view, is inevitable. If a launch, quote, if a launch goes perfectly, all you learn is that that launch vehicle on that day worked. When you have failure, you actually get this treasure trove of data. This mindset has fueled iterative progress on Starship, with orbital flights targeted potentially by the end of 2026. In fact, much earlier than that, she talked about 1 a month cadence. She talked about the very next one being in July, so we could be looking at July, August, September. Brian Wang and I have talked about this. Brian thinks that we can have an orbital flight as early as flight number 14, which would be August, but certainly by number 15th in September. Leadership style, loyalty on the human side. Shotwell's approach emphasizes empowerment over micromanagement. Early on, Musk tasked her with selling the Falcon 9. She prepared a detailed report, but he dismissed it. That's great, he's quoted as saying, but I want you to do stuff, not write reports about doing stuff. She called it one of the most empowering moments of her career. She favors practical style, black skinny jeans paired with platform heels, and unwinds with Chardonnay. Outlander novels are part of what keeps her, also allows her to unwind. She also often falls asleep while reading, and also family time. She's been married to Robert Shotwell, a NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory engineer, since meeting him while volunteering on a university satellite project. She has 2 adult children from a previous marriage. The couple escapes periodically to their 1,000-acre ranch along the North Fork of the San Gabriel River in Texas. Complete with cattle. She has cattle. She has plans for a vineyard, complete with irrigation infrastructure already in progress. I drink a lot of wine, she once joked. Actually, reading is probably the thing that calms me down the most. Her loyalty to Musk is well documented. During 2025 tensions with the Trump administration, she quietly reassured NASA partners that the issues would be resolved. After 2022 allegations against Musk, she sent a company-wide note against the advice of others. In the note, she says, I don't believe he could have done what he's being accused of. But he isn't perfect. I'm also imperfect. She has called him probably, quote, probably the best CEO in history, and emphasized the necessity of his supermajority voting control. In the CNBC interview, she described him as very misunderstood, recounting how investors who met him in person often left surprised by the collaborative person behind the headlines. We talked about this so often. He is a guy who listens very carefully, and only speaks once everybody's got their stuff out. On succession, she says she's pragmatic. The company would not collapse, obviously, without Elon, but it would by no means be the same. Looking to the stars, the moon and Mars, a multiplanetary dream. SpaceX's long-term vision remains audacious, a 1 million-person self-sustaining colony on Mars. Shotwell has guessed that around 2035, she'll have an initial crewed mission, but quickly caveats her poor record on timelines. Personally, she prefers the moon. Mars takes 6 months to get to, and I don't like to camp. She envisions lunar settlements and manufacturing within the next decade. In a 2022 Stanford talk, she stressed aiming high and embracing risk. Pick a path and do it, and don't be afraid to say you've made a mistake. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Her leadership has helped foster a culture where feedback is objective and adversity builds strength. As a woman leading in a male-dominated field for nearly 4 decades, Shotwell has witnessed gradual progress toward greater inclusion. She continues advocating for STEM through fundraising and mentorship, raising millions for programs reaching thousands of students. Okay, what about the road ahead? Public markets, AI, and beyond. With the IPO, SpaceX transitions from private moonshot to public infrastructure giant. Shotwell has expressed initial doubts about going public. Quote, I wasn't sure we should go or would go public because the private structure allowed intense long-term focus without the quarterly pressures. Now she believes that building blocks are in place across launches, Starlink, and emerging AI ventures. So she's for it now. Investors will scrutinize high valuations and capital intensity, but Shotwell urges focus on the futuristic roadmap, rapid Starship reusability, orbital data centers, point-to-point Earth transport, and eventual multiplanetary expansion. Her steady hand, calm execution amid cosmic ambition, that combination has been instrumental in reaching this milestone and will remain vital navigating public scrutiny, technological leaps, and humanity's next giant leap. From a cheerleading high schooler inspired by a pair of fabulous shoes to a billionaire COO in platform heels steering one of history's most valuable companies, Gwynne Shotwell's journey proves that engineering the future requires equal parts vision, grit, and humanity. As SpaceX pushes boundaries, her blend of pragmatism and persistence ensures that dreams stay grounded enough to actually launch. So I hope that was interesting to you. I saw this the other day and I thought, you got to get to know the people, especially at the very, very top. She's at the very, very top. She's an important piece of what's happening at SpaceX. And I thought potentially you'd like to learn more about her and her background. So earlier today, of course, we had Bradford Ferguson on just a little bit ago. And this morning we had, was that Brian Wang? Was that Brian? Yeah, I think Brian Wang. First thing this morning, I'll put both of those cards up for you. And then tomorrow, we've got Larry Goldberg coming. We got, you'll have a regular report from me, even though there's no market tomorrow. I'll still do a regular midday report about the economy and everything, the news and everything that's going on. So, push that button. Have you ever subscribed? You should subscribe, If you haven't subscribed, how come you haven't subscribed? All right. And then, hit notify if you want to be reminded, because we'll have shows all weekend as usual. We'll have 6 shows between Saturday and Sunday. We might have Warren back. Anyway, a lot of stuff going on. It has been great, as always, talking to you.
3 rockets exploded. The 4th changed history. Read more of the magical adventure in the Elon Musk Magic, now available on Amazon.